Hey everybody, I'm Jammer, and the controversy of Byleth being added as the final Fighter Pass DLC fighter for Smash, yeah, it's kind of just blown up way out of proportion. Initially, right off the bat, in my reaction video, as well as many other people's reaction, the first thing that came to my mind is like, oh my gosh, Sakurai added another swordsman Fire Emblem character. And I kind of came out for the approach being a lighthearted, laugh, oh my gosh, he actually followed the meme. But people have been taking it a lot more seriously on the internet and taking genuine offense from Sakurai adding this character to the game. Some people have taken it as a personal offense to them, as if Sakurai did it intentionally to aggravate fans, that he's intentionally trying to ignore his audience, and there's a whole mix of complexity to this whole situation. But to explain what's going on now, we need to kind of go back a little bit to really the origin of Fire Emblem characters in Smash in general. Controversy for these characters didn't start until Super Smash Bros. 4, the one that's for 3DS and Wii U. Because prior to that, we had Marth and Roy from Melee, and then just a single inclusion of another newcomer being Ike from Brawl. In the lead up of the release of Smash Bros. For Wii U, there was a reveal trailer for the newest Fire Emblem characters, this time being Lucina and Robin, both characters from Fire Emblem Awakening. And admittedly, at the time, there was a little bit of controversy about that, just because those two characters were both very new. Awakening had only been previously out a few years at that point. And so there was a little bit of a talk about, do these characters deserve to be in Smash, because there's so many other past characters that are around for so much longer, and we've wanted it for so much longer, that still haven't seen the light of day. At the time, characters like Ridley and such were being thrown around, more classic iconic characters that have still yet to have a chance to shine in Smash Bros. But those ideas were kind of cast aside, and overall Lucina as well as Robin were both welcomed into the game. Because at the time before they were announced as Echo Fighters, they did talk about how Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, and of course Lucina were actually last minute inclusions, just to kind of fill out the roster a little bit with some more unique characters. So it really was no pain, no harm, no foul. It wasn't until Smash Bros. Wii U went into its era of DLC is when the controversy really started to rise. Of the characters that were released as DLC for Smash Wii U, it was a handful of returning veterans from previous games that were cut, as well as new collaborations with big third-party characters, such as Ryu, Cloud, and Bayonetta. When it came to the final Smash Bros. Presentation, and at the time what looked to be the last presentation, last new characters we would see coming to Smash Wii U, and of course we knew nothing of Ultimate and nothing of that on the horizon, so we really thought this was kind of it. This was the last newcomers we would get for a long time. And that presentation opened with a reveal trailer for, you guessed it, Corrin, the protagonist from Fire Emblem Fates. And I think a number of factors kind of made it controversial. First off being yet another anime swords fighter. And beyond just the Fire Emblem cast, characters like Shulk and Cloud kind of get roped into this pool of the idea of these are all just anime sword fighter characters. And I kind of like what I mentioned with Robin and Lucina being young characters. The Fates games had only been out for under a year at that point. So that's why there was a lot of controversy around this character. It was yet another Fire Emblem character, that making now 3 new newcomers for the Fire Emblem series here in Smash Wii U, one of which now being one of the DLC fighters that typically have been returning veterans and brand new third-party collaboration. So for the only new first-party character to be thrown in as DLC, be another Fire Emblem rep, and not only that, a relatively new Fire Emblem character in existence. It was, of course, controversial with the community. But in said same presentation, Bayonetta was announced, as well as the hype with Cloud coming out. So admittedly, it was forgiven quite quickly because there were other characters worth talking about. Matter of fact, the controversy around Bayonetta and how was she actually the Fighter Pass winner. Then, of course, the excitement of the fact that Cloud was actually in the game. So fortunately for Corrin, it was the controversy for that character was thankfully swept under the rug. And tying back to the point of another sword fighter, one thing that Corrin had to their advantage was the fact that, while yes, they did use a sword, it was drastically different from the other Fire Emblem cast and other swordsmen in the game. Being able to transform parts of their body into the dragon form, and using your long appendages to provide a lot of unique gameplay elements with this character. So while yes, she did wield a sword, she also had a lot of unique things to the character that differed from the rest of the cast. Although she did still have a down B counter, so I mean, what are you gonna do? Going into Smash Ultimate, the only brand new Fire Emblem character we received was, of course, Chrom. And the truth is, the reason he's even an Echo in this game is because we wanted him. And I know what you're thinking. Why would the Smash Bros. Community asking for another Fire Emblem character? Well, in the reveal trailer for Robin and Lucina, there was kind of like a hint and a play with saying like Chrom will...
Suppose I'll get my chance another day.
Kind of hinting at the fact that Chrom was initially planned to be in Smash Bros. For Wii U, but for some reason or another in development, he just didn't seem to have enough of a unique moveset, and ended up just being scrapped. But for some reason, the Smash community latched onto that idea of Chrom was almost going to be in Smash Wii U, to the point where that became a reality here in Ultimate. And so while we asked for this, I think it actually led into a lot of the controversy now we have with the Fire Emblem series in Smash Bros. Because beyond just the anime swords fighter aspect, one of the biggest complaints about these Fire Emblem characters is they're all just clones of one another. Initially, Marth had the unique moveset. Roy was the first Echo ever in the series, for that matter, to just take and copy his exact moveset with subtle changes. With the introduction of Lucina in Smash Wii U, she was yet another clone of Marth's moveset, with, again, like I said, obvious differences, you know, with the exclusion of the tipper mechanic. And now finally wrapping things up with Chrom being a clone of Roy, which is a clone of Marth, making him a twice removed clone. That now meaning 4 characters in Smash Bros. Share nearly the identical same moveset with very subtle differences. Of course, in high-level gameplay, all these characters do play drastically different, but from a general standpoint, they do all originate from the same base moves. Side tangent, but I think it's worth pointing out that our boy Ike kind of just stays clear of this entire controversy. He's just been the golden boy of the Fire Emblem characters in Smash for some reason. Everyone just loves, we like Ike. So this finally brings us to Byleth, and I want to really explore why this character was received so poorly. Because the thing is, looking back at the reveal of Robin and Lucina and Chrom for that matter, as well as the Corrin reveal, if you look at the like-dislike ratio on the original trailers, as well as some of the other media outlets, it's not that bad. It's really not, the ratio is not too bad. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about these characters when they came out, but if you compare it to the Byleth presentation, it's completely blown out of proportion. It's on a different level. And I think it's been a lot of contributing factors that built up to this overall frustration that a lot of people seem to have with this character. I think the first thing to point out is the nature of the fighter pass, kind of already preemptively announcing that there's going to be 5 fighters, you know, and then giving people the option to pre-order these characters before even knowing who they are. It does build a really interesting framework for people going into these presentations and the announcement of these characters. It comes at a more personal level because you've kind of already paid for them. That's why when Terry was announced at the end of last summer, a lot of people were really unfamiliar with the character and the series for that matter. And so for a good majority of the community, a lot of people didn't really have much attachment or care for Terry. Eventually, people did come around to him and celebrated the fact that, you know, there are fans of his series, and were happy that he was in to represent that genre of fighting games. But a lot of people acknowledged that the reveal wasn't for them and kind of moved on from it. It kind of just put us up for the expectations we were going into with this final reveal. Because so far, the Fighter Pass has been purely brand new third-party collaborations. It kind of set up expectations, including to myself, that the Fighter Pass was going to be a completely third-party focused character ballot. There were still some people that were hoping for first-party characters, but a lot of people were under the expectation that this is going to be another big third-party reveal. And especially for the fact that when they started off with Joker and saying, like, this is the kind of reveals you're going to expect for the rest of the Fighter Pass, a lot was riding on this final roster slot. For the final character of the Fighter Pass to come in as not only a first-party character from Nintendo, but also yet another Fire Emblem character wielding a sword, it'd be an understatement to say that the Fighter Pass kinda ended on a dud. The Fighter Pass consisting of all these amazing third-party characters and collaborations with different companies, Atlas, Square Enix, Microsoft, SNK, and then to have the final 5th fighter of the Fighter Pass kind of break the rule of the third-party typical trend we've been seeing throughout the past, just to bring, like I said, an anime swords fighter. It didn't sit well with people. I think it's okay for people to be upset that Byleth is in Smash Bros, but not for some of the ways that they're coming about it. And I especially don't agree with the people who are blaming Sakurai and the developers and putting so much hate on all of them for just including this character. Especially because within the same direct, they announced that 6 more additional characters are going to be coming out over the next 2 years. So the idea of all of a sudden, oh my gosh, Smash Bros is ruined, my character didn't make it in, when literally within the same sentence as of Sakurai saying Byleth is in Smash, he also says, oh, we're making even 6 more fighters beyond this. It's kind of nuts to see how entitled and toxic this controversy has been for this character. Now, let's look at why was Byleth even chosen then? After causing so much of this uproar, there's gotta be a reason why this character came in. And a lot of people don't like the fact that it's really coinciding with the reveal and the announcement of the final new story DLC coming to Three Houses. If a lot of people feel like it's really odd timing to, really just make it a marketing scheme of tying in Byleth and Smash and the DLC pass for that game. Truth of the matter is, it's probably intentional, considering Nintendo wants to probably promote their own products. But it's hard for, people to see this DLC character as just an ad in a way. I think it's really important to focus on what Sakurai talked about to preface Byleth being included, in addition to what he said a lot in the past. That the characters he wants to include in Smash follow a set of criteria of they're fun to play, and they offer something unique to the cast that no one else is like. Basically meaning the character will play like no other character in the game. And while yes, Byleth is another anime Fire Emblem sword fighter, the truth is she does play differently than the rest of the cast. The first thing to note is, while yes, she does have a sword, the sword acts a lot differently than any other sword we've seen in the game. It's more of a whip than anything else, because of the extension ability it has on it. There, of course, are still some standard sword swings in it, but overall, the character's movements and attacks are quite unique to the character. But the thing is, Byleth doesn't just bring her sword along. In addition to the sword, she brings in the 3 other of the main relic weapons in the game, a bow, an axe, and a lance. And while yes, her primary weapon isn't these 3 relic weapons, from the presentation we've seen, these weapons incorporate a lot of her moveset, showing how she'll kind of be juggling different weapons while she's fighting in combat. I think that's a really unique thing to represent, especially for her character. And why I say specifically her is because one of the unique things about Fire Emblem Three Houses is that you can equip any weapon to any character and make them any class. Some characters are more proficient at certain weapon types, and so there's kind of a suggested path, but at the end of the day, if you want to make Dimitri a dancer, you can do it. And so kind of showing that representation of being able to juggle tons of different weapon types within Three Houses in Byleth's moveset in Smash, I think is really representative of that game. And beyond that, it kind of represents the weapon triangle, which is also a really important gameplay mechanic of the Fire Emblem series. So while there is a lot of controversy surrounding Byleth, at the same time there is a lot of positive reception. Of course, me at first, I was, laughing at the fact that there's another Fire Emblem character in Smash, but after thinking about it and letting it sink in, I'm actually really excited for Byleth to be in Smash because Fire Emblem Three Houses is my favorite Fire Emblem game. And I really think she does offer quite a unique moveset to the cast. And hey, you know what the best aspect is? Her down B isn't a counter. So I mean, what do you have to complain about there, haters? Gotcha. I think the most precious thing is if you go on Twitter and you look at the cast, the voice acting cast of Three Houses and how they've been celebrating the reveal of Byleth in Smash. Like, it really goes to show how much a character being put into Smash really does impact people. And while there is this sort of mob mentality going around, just trying to hate on everything in regards to Byleth and Smash, the point I'm trying to say, there is still people celebrating. There is still people excited. There is still people who really wanted this character in the game. And at the end of the day, if this character really isn't for you, you have 6 more coming down the road. But when it comes to saying that Sakurai should be fired, or hating on the development team, it just really saddens me when you see all these entitled and toxic takes being spread around the internet around this character. And the sad truth of it is that a lot of people are backing it. These tweets are getting a lot of likes. And I'm not saying you can't have an opinion, but I'm just saying, tone it down? Maybe a little bit? I really don't think that the inclusion of a little bit of extra code into a game that is on your Nintendo Switch should really make that much of a difference and an impact in your life. Of course, I too share a lot of passion and excitement for Smash Bros. Characters, but the way people are reacting is just, genuinely not proud to be part of the Smash Bros. Community right now. Like, the idea of other people outside of the community looking at the knee-jerk reaction of this character being revealed, it just spreads a bad name for us. And, like, it makes me embarrassed to be a Smash Bros. Fan when this kind of toxicity is being spread. I personally am really looking forward to playing Byleth and trying her out and playing her in, seeing if her playstyle suits me. I'm really excited about not only the inclusion of Three Houses music, but also the additional cast members that'll be on the stage. But I guess our best bet at this point is just hope that when the character comes out, it kind of just goes under the water, and hopefully the community just moves on to whatever new announcement there is. The truth of the matter is, though, if the next Fighter Pass character in the second Season 2 comes out, and it's yet again another character people either aren't excited for, or worst case scenario, it's another Fire Emblem character. I just hope people don't continue back to all the hatred they had for Byleth, and they go into this next season of this next Season 2 of the Fighter Pass with that mindset and circling back to this moment to be like, this is the origin of where Smash Bros. Went downhill or whatever. So I hope that gave you a little insight on the context of this whole controversy. I think there's a lot of depth to this situation, and I think a lot of the frustration makes a lot of sense where it's come from. I just hope people just calm down. Just calm down. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give this video a big, awesome like. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Thanks again, guys, so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!